That
Okay,
was
thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and Barrister Fru, Barrister Mbesia. We have a meeting with the president in just a
A few
few
minutes.
minutes, and so we'll be looking at the things here that these people are not saying. I want us to profile. You've done a good job by starting the conversation, but I would like us to profile the forerunners of this whole consultative commission of transition to democracy and blah 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 blah. We need to provide them one after the other. Before we get to profiling Chris Arno and his agenda, Marianta, and the fact that we hear she's cousin to John Gute or something, Akwanga, who once requested for a ceasefire, and the others, Kometa, who has created, nobody in the struggle would have created chaos more than Kometa has done. Um, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? It's unfortunate the way the things are going. Let's start with this former CRTV journalist, Eric Chinje. Apparently, after our concerns, he's now taking the backstage. Eric Chinje has never professed or stood for anything that has to do with an independent state of Southern Cameroons. We know he's a part of this. I've seen him on ABS, some excerpts. He is advocating for this consultative thing and trying to lecture us
Yeah.
how important it is. We know that Neba for them is a part of this structure. These are not independentists. I understand Chris Anu is pretending. I understand. But these are people who have never. So it is a recycling of every other thing that Cameroon has done and has not failed. So, Barrister Fru, what do you think they're saying? I have something to say before we leave. What do you actually think they are not telling us in this whole idea of trying to box all those they call leaders together
Okay.
in a consultative platform? Please talk to us.
Thank, thank you, Paddy. Like you rightly said, the name Consultative Commission for what democracy, that name came from Eric Chinje. That particular, this conference, the title of this conference was propagated by Eric Chinje. Eric Chinje is a classmate of mine from Sacred Heart College, and and one of his parents is from La Republique. So I would not blame him if he takes a position for his country. But the fact that he appeared on ABS, and we know what Chris Anu had been talking about, that whole federation in 20 years, then we will re-examine and see whether we can now ask for independence. And Eric Chinje has appeared on ABS at least twice that I've seen.
Yeah.
Eric Chinje, Eric Chinje is the motto behind this. What are they not telling us? This
What are they?
is a meeting. This is a meeting financed and organized by John Gote Joseph, the colonial prime minister of La République du Cameroon, because he is being asked serious questions. What role can you play to bring your brothers back into the fold? And he wants these renegades to torpedo what is going to happen if we obtain our independence. How are they going to do that? I don't see it. But that is the objective. And in order to do it, they must try and isolate the government of the Southern Cameroon and Bazonia, led by Dr. Samuel Ekomesako, by even pronouncing his Sarko's name in that audio, that Sarko is absent. That indicated to me that they wanted to hold that meeting to sideline the government and to be taken seriously. As I said to Tabitha, I also learned that before that meeting in Ghana, Paddy, another one held in Vietnam. That one skipped. Skipped me. I didn't know that. Maybe you knew, but I don't know. They held one in Vietnam, and it amounted to nothing. All that bankrolled by Dion Gote. Now they decided to hold one in Africa, and they went to Ghana so that they can now be replace the government of the Southern Cameroon in the upcoming talks. Which upcoming talks? Who are those? La Republic can go and hold talks with them, like they did in Canada. It will amount to nothing because, like I said before, none of them has one single fighter on the ground. None of them can talk to anybody fighting on the ground. None of them has a fighting force on the ground. None of them. So what do they have to contribute? What are they bringing on the table? Will talking to them and negotiating with them stop the war, stop our ASA from fighting? Never, never. So what is the objective? They are not telling us that they want to isolate the government so that La Republic can negotiate with them. That is the way I read it, Paddy.
Now, there's something we have to put there in perspective. It has to do with John Gute and his maneuvers, or his
Yes.
recycling strategies. There's pressure, there is rush. Chris Arnold traveling from Vietnam to Ghana. Remember Ghana, the same Ghana where Akwanga had some deals to do a few years ago. Maybe you want to talk about
Yes.
that.
Ghana had been a place.
The president about 2 weeks ago, he
Uh,
mentioned something about unity, which means he was contacted to participate in this charade. Can you imagine? The president was contacted, and
I don't think so. I don't think
no,
so.
he was contacted, and from his statement, I suspect that there was this idea because I interviewed him, and he brought in the idea of unity, which means that there were some movements against him for these unity ideas. But I hear that there are some members within the government who are probably in alignment with this so-called Ghana. So it's a lot of things.
Hey,
There's an agreement, and that's where you saw the detail. Yeah, go ahead.
Paddy, there is nobody in this government who is serious who would align with those losers. Let me tell you, I know those who are aligned are the remnants that are still hanging around here. They are not members of this government. They have, by their own actions, left the government. The real members of this government cannot associate themselves with what took place in Ghana. The question is, what was the objective? And you are trying to say the president talked about unity. Yes, unity of purpose. We cannot just meet with a group of people who have no objective and then bring them that we're bringing them into this government for unity purposes. If any of them has an objective to bring about the independence of the Southern Cameroon, or that we will examine that on a one-on-one basis and see if it's genuine. If it's genuine and his group is genuine, we have other groups that are genuine that we cannot go to. We'll go to this negotiating table like we went to Puman, but we cannot take any traitor on the street and go to Pumban and let him go and torpedo this struggle. No, we will talk. There are groups even in the SCNC. There are people who may want to associate with because they believe in the independence of the Southern Cameroon. People like the father of Ambazonia. He does not believe in what or all these renegades running around the whole place. I'm talking about Gojidinka. He's a very old man now. He may not have the strength, but at least he has some people that he confides in them. And if he can join us for the negotiating table to go to get our country back, it will be great. But we cannot be talking about a group of traitors who left and joined La Republique, took money from La Republique and never delivered, and now they are going around from one continent to the other and meeting. They went to Vietnam, they went to Ghana, to Canada, North America, from there to Vietnam in the Far East, and now they are in Africa. And what are they looking for? We don't know what they are looking for. They would have found it by now. So I don't believe you when you say the president might have been contacted. To do what? Okay, let's suppose that the president was contacted. The president would not accept.
This is the point I'm trying to make, Barrister Flo. And every time they want to do this, they seek the legitimacy of President Sako. So they try to come, let's unite. And, Yaoundé, I don't know why they think that they would have to use the same strategy all the time. And they are expecting to have honorary results. Because at every time, I want to take it down history. I'm trying to document some history. In Banjul, yes, when the Ayims, the Gustin Dangams, and all the leaders of the NSC and the Ayapa at the time fight in a successful lawsuit.
Correct.
And it was a time for Cameroon's hearing. Diongute, the errand boy, was sent there. And one of the things he highlighted is that Southern Cameroonian leaders are not united. And then when I was reading those documents, I laughed and I asked myself, for God's sake, how is that a proponent of this discussion? We are supposed to talk about the fact that the people of Southern Cameroons have just won a case that attests to the fact that their cause is historic, is legal. Let's have that debate. And Cameroon is trying to, all the time, take renegades like Chris Arnold, who don't know their left from their right, and project a ridicule of the struggle. So they went to Canada, they made sure they would speak to Dr. Sakosala, he doesn't go, and they make it to look like this man doesn't want unity. But in that document of Dr. Mungwa, the president, is a clear-cut line on what kind of collaboration the government is looking forward.
Collaboration is different from unity.
Yes, the president made mention of how we can work together. What can we do together? When I was interviewing him. So these are some of the lines I want us to talk about. He asked questions. How can we work together? Okay, yes. I am feeding the refugees. Do you want us to combine together and do some feeding with the refugees? So these are the lines I want us to talk in conclusion. We have approximately 7 minutes. And I'll bring maybe he wants to make some comments before we leave. Go ahead, please. I'm listening to you.
I was going to say that there is a difference between unity and unity of purpose. Unity of purpose is actually collaboration. Collaboration. For those who believe in the independence and sovereignty of the Southern Cameroons in this struggle, this government is ready to collaborate with them. But on all those people who have been meeting, nobody there qualifies on what I'm saying. They have all abandoned ship. They are no longer thinking about the independence of the Southern Cameroon or its sovereignty. But we still have other groups, other people, both individuals and groups, that believe very much in the independence and sovereignty of the Southern Cameroon, and we cannot let them out. That is what that communique is alluding to. If you look at, let's look at the personalities that met in Ghana. Chris Anu, a renegade and a traitor from this government who sold out to La Republic of Cameroon and took money. Let him go anywhere, and I can prove it. Number two, Marianta. The last draft money of Ndian County, Marianta went away with it. What did she do? What did she do with it? She was holding the money that was drafted in Ndian. She went away with it. See, up to now, she has not given an account of the money, the draft money from Ndian. She's a traitor and she's a renegade. We cannot deal with her. Those are people who went and formed a government, and Chris Anu also torpedoed them and took the government for 2 years. The 2 years have since expired. Chris Anu is now nowhere. He is out of office, but he's still languishing. Where do they go? Who is now their leader? That is a big question. Number three, Yerema. Yerema and his boss sitting in Conde prison, who was my client. He said he has dissolved the Southern Cameroon government, and that is created an interim government care, whatever, interim care in prison. Nobody governs any organization while in prison. Doesn't work. And Yerima has been propagating all that. Those are all traitors. We cannot rely on them. The worst traitor of all of them is Komita Elvis. Komita Elvis is the one who destroyed this government by creating a mandate of 2 years that never existed, and went ahead to claimed that he wanted to impeach Dr. Saku for imaginary crimes that they never they could not prove. This man in Kupe Manenguba, what is his name again? The Dr. Epa. Till today has not been able to find any evidence of the CDC deal and all that. They created all that to bring down the government, led by Komita Elvis. It did not work. Akwanka went to Ghana and met La Republique agents, Colonel Mbankwi and others, and they convinced him and gave him money, and he declared a non-existent ceasefire, and has since distanced himself from the struggle. He lives in America and is not working. How does he live? Where does he get the money? Where does he get the money? Those are all traitors. But we still have some people who are not in this government who believe in the independence and sovereignty of the Southern Cameroon. And when the time comes, we will get those kind of people to join us, and we'll go like we went in Puman. It's a government-to-government affair. But the government in place leads the delegation and calls the shots. Because we're talking to the enemy. We cannot go to the enemies divided. So that is what that communique is talking about. That's the way I read that communique. I'm not reading that communique to say that among them there, one of them will change course overnight and come and say, okay, let's go and negotiate our sovereignty. I don't see it happening. Because La Republic knows why he's dealing with them. They want to use them to torpedo this government. That's all.
That's amazing. Commander Evis, I guess you have something to say before we call it a short. I think we have just a few seconds.
Matter of fact, let me just run through it pretty quick. Yeah. Thank you, Comrade Paddy. I was just thinking of the fact that they say the enemy of your enemy becomes your friend. That was just a gathering of those actually translate to the ground. We saw this back in the times of when No PT came in with the idea of the Unity Warrior, where their main purpose was to kill FM Isabo. They succeeded. They destabilized Bui. We did everything in our power to, restructure Bui back. We saw that in the APLC where they said, "Oh, now we're coming together under APLC," where they had planted commanders on the ground like the millipede guy from Den, who we now know was a Little Big agent that was actually, heading that group. They went around, killed strong fighters like the transporter, general transporter that was in Meme, like the Beta Colas. They killed a lot of strong fighters. And where is the APLC today? Nowhere to be found. Or where is that Unity Warrior? Nowhere to be found. So this time around, you could see those guns that are being paraded. Again, that if you add those two together, you would see that that is another link to probably use that channel to kill a lot of other fighters that are paying allegiance to this government. We have to be very careful when these moves take place. We already see these kind of things and we can predict where their direction would be. We need to inform our ASAs, mobilize them, keep them ready. And now is the time. That is why we are drafting. We're drafting because we need to make sure that we are fortified. Our forces have what it takes to be able to conquer those internal enemies that will be sent to their way. We know they'll be coming because this library money that has been given to these enemies of progress, they will try to use it to justify the reason for which they joined. But we can already assure them that it is a back to sender kind of message already. We would send them right back to where they were coming from. Ambazonia would be free, and free shall it be. Thank you, Comrade Patty, and I you.
I like the fact that you have really cited some of the catastrophes that have been orchestrated by the same folks. We cannot belabor the point.